What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. In this one we're going to be taking a look at the second Incarnon weapon I selected this week, and that is for the Lex. Lex Prime is an old school weapon introduced around 9 years ago, which is actually kind of wild to think about. It's basically a semi-automatic hand cannon, slow firing, a lot of recoil, and it became somewhat of a fan favourite. It had a soft spot in a lot of people's hearts for a fair time. The problem is the game kind of left it behind a bit in terms of power, especially in that quest for more difficult content. Poor Lex just fell out of favour because it just couldn't compete. So it was a prime candidate for an Incarnon upgrade. So what does it do? Well, the Incarnon mode massively increases its base damage, turning that base damage into all impact and radiation instead of a mix of the IPS types. It buffs its crit chance, its crit damage, and buffs its status. Oh, and did I mention it basically turns the Lex into the weird baby of the Plasma and the Catch Moon? Yeah, as you can see in the footage, it's firing out this AoE energy projectile, hits anything in its path with infinite enemy punch through. So as Incarnon upgrades go, it's rather a strong one. In terms of Incarnon selections, Evolution 2, either you can improve the base damage by 20, with a further increase to your base damage when your shields get broken, or increasing your base damage by 20 and having increased efficiency when you have a channeled ability running. Evolution 3, pretty simple, recoil reduction and accuracy increase on headshots, which stacks up to 4 times, mag size increased by 10, or reload speed increased by 100% when reloading from empty. And then Evolution 4, increase headshot damage when you equip the weapon for 4 seconds, 30% more status chance, or 19% crit chance, and 0.4 crit times damage multiplier. So what did I choose and how did I build it? Well, Evolution 2, I went with Hoplite Virtue. Even though the shield break isn't going to happen that often on most frames, especially if you're running like a Gloom frame, which I do a lot. Unfortunately, the ammo efficiency part of the other option doesn't affect the Incarnon mode, otherwise I would pick that immediately. Evolution 3, I went for the reload speed when the mag is empty, since this takes, for me, a million years to reload, is a really nice buff, although the recoil one would have been brilliant. This is going to come down to personal preference here. If you can live with that slow reload, I would go with the recoil reduction. Evolution 4 was a fairly easy pick though, increased crit chance and damage can pretty much never go wrong here. As for the build, well, this might be kind of controversial. But like the later on the other week, no elementals in sight here. Instead, we're focusing on raw power with monumental slash procs. Got the usual suspects on here: Hornet Strike, Galvanized Diffusion, Lethal Torrent. We've got the 2 prime crit mods. Then we have Galvanized Shot, which is going to further push our damage per status type. Galvanized Crosshair on here for more crit chance. This is basically your Riven slot if you want one. I would recommend, honestly, double crit, so you don't have to be aiming all the time, but Crosshairs is a good alternative. And then we have Hemorrhage. The Incarnon projectile gives us guaranteed impact proc, and Hemorrhage gives us a chance for a slash proc on impact procs, which scales off the damage done from the weapon, meaning you can get slash procs in the high hundreds of thousands, if not millions. This mod really unlocks this weapon and is absolutely worth building specifically for. Secondary Merciless in the augment, and lethal momentum for the extra range on the projectile. So what do I think of the Incarnon Lex Prime? Well, there's no other way to put it. It is absolutely disgustingly good. The power of these Incarnon weapons is simply out of this world. It's so good and so efficient, it's hard to put down. You can just fire it straight down hallways or at narrow choke points, and you get this sea of damage numbers, slash procs, other procs. It's incredibly satisfying. The footage in the background isn't even really me doing anything particularly special. The new mode basically has me fixing a bunch of my frames, they all need a ton of former, but I'm using the Incarnon Lex Prime and Gloom for my healing. I'm getting 8-minute formers done on frames, which is quicker than I can do with heavy attack melee. The weapon is just so highly efficient and kills so effectively, you can level an entire frame, basically do an entire former in 8 minutes using it. Between 8 and 10 minutes is usually about my average, depending on tile set and stuff like that. I'm absolutely loving bringing back to relevance of all these old fan favourite weapons and them being as strong as they are. They are super fun and super weird to play with, and are actually making us think of new builds to really get the best out of it. Hemorrhage is not a new mod, but it had niche use and I never found a weapon I wanted to use it regularly on. well, until now. I've not had so much fun playing with and modding weapons in a long time, and I would class this as a win. I'm excited to see what this weekend's crop of weapons brings and how weird they end up. I'll have videos out on them as soon as possible in the week, but for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall catch you in the next video.